let's get started. I mean, we're gonna try and like, it's weird to talk about anything that isn't acutely sensitive to what's going on, but we also feel like we have to do what we do best, which is to try and keep things light, obviously to give you guys as good of information as we can to arm you through this stuff. So, we're going to walk a fine line here, but it goes without being said. We hope everybody's doing okay, given the circumstances. This is pretty intense. We just got a real quick question. Someday, yes, I don't know if the chat will be available for download later. That's a good question. We've never gotten that. But this is all recorded. This will all be available for you guys. So what we're going to get into today is the first of a new series that we're launching that is all about this new, it's all built on top of this 3 laws of trading playbook that we created. We just launched the new version of that, version 2.0. Our team worked really hard on it. And it's the same kind of principles that we did for the last one, which is, it's basically to answer the question that we get asked all the time by people, which is, what do I have to do to make it as a trader, right? So instead of just constantly answering that in various different ways, we put together this, one digital online experience that takes you through Lucci's thinking on this, Lucci's answer, essentially. So we updated a lot of the content that was in there. If you saw the old one, you'll probably really want to go back and check that out. You guys can do that at 3ltplaybook.com. We'll put that in there, 3ltplaybook.com. And so what we're doing now is we're doing a 4-part webinar series. This is the first one going through more in depth into what we talked about in the playbook, introducing each of these laws, and really just diving deep into it. So today, the first one is about law number 1, which is called master your domain. Lucci, I felt pretty excited when we came up with master your domain, given the Seinfeld reference there. I was like, this is just, it's too good. It's too good. But mastering your domain is really about, you think about your domain as an area of knowledge, right? As kind of an area of expertise. It's a sphere of activity. And the examples that we've got for you here for Lucci, the 3 that we identified, that the top ones are options, market structure, which includes the various different types of market participants that are out there, market makers, institutions, algorithms, stuff like that, how they interact with the markets, spotting their behavior, and then tape reading. And those are the sort of areas of expertise that Lucci realized at various points throughout his career that he had to have mastery over if he was going to have a shot at trading profitably. Like if you took out any one of those things, he knew that he couldn't trade profitably. Luce, does that still sound accurate to you?
100%, 100%. I'll kick it off with a story, right? I hired a guy from Puerto Rico. He's a Forex trader. He's a Forex trader. That's the only style of trading that he knows. Obviously with Forex trading, you can only do technical analysis because the markets are so liquid. So, he had spent maybe 4 years, trying to figure out the strategy, but it was never the strategy. He was trying to figure out himself the whole damn time. How come I'm making all this money and then how come I'm losing it, right? So everybody has this same trajectory, right? 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, and then you kind of figure it out. It's like, oh, it's not my strategy. It's not the market. It's not this. It's not that. It's fucking me. It was me the whole damn time. So he kind of created a system. He basically systemized his Forex trading, and he no longer, was prey to himself as far as getting rid of his stop losses, adding the positions that were losing, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And I'm trying to teach this kid, and he's a fucking kid. I'm trying to teach him how to trade options, how to understand pricing on options, how to understand market sentiment, how to understand perception, how to understand behavior, how to understand squeezes. And now he has to come into a world where he has to admit, remember, when you're a kid, and you think you got it figured out, you know, you're going to say, I know to everything. I mean, my 14-year-old, I can't say shit to my 14-year-old daughter without her being, I know. But it, you know, in the back of your head.
Daughter.
Yeah, exactly. You don't know shit. I don't know shit. You know what I mean? And half of it is just opening yourself up to the fact that, okay, you know, we're always learning. We're always adjusting. We're always trying to understand behavior. We're always trying to understand positions. We're always trying to understand market structure. We're always trying to understand new things that change everything. I mean, the whole virus here changed how we even trade stocks on a daily basis, how they even trade on a daily basis, how market makers price options on a daily freaking basis, on a second-to-second basis. All that shit changes. And here I am trying to teach this kid how to do it, and this is the hardest. It's the hardest thing to get this kid to unlearn the shit that he thinks he knows, just to be able to allow him to get some kind of a perception or some kind of a feel on how this market really works, man. And it is driving me insane. I want to kill this kid. I want to fucking kill this kid. I want to kill him. I want to kill him. And I actually told him today, I could even screenshot this and go into the chat. I asked him to do a simple options pricing thing. And again, he brought in his whole world of technicals and all this kind of stuff to answer the question. And I'm like, dude, that's it. You're coming in tomorrow. You're cleaning the bathroom. You're cleaning the toilets. You're cleaning the fucking sink. That's it. Because that's all you're good for at this point. So come on.
Right.
So yeah, that's the story I'll kick it off with.
Yeah. I mean, I think that illustrates the point, guys. Like no matter how, if you're going to try and trade options, you have to have mastery over options. You have to understand exactly how they work. You have to understand the various different participants that are trading those options, who it is you're trading against. And this is one of the things we focus a lot on psychology, and that's part of the playbook. That's, we talked about that towards the end. We're going to have 2 webinars dedicated to that. And psychology is essential. We would never undercut that, but you can be the Dalai Lama and you can't trade for shit profitably if you don't understand how this stuff works.
Oh yeah. And again, there's so many moving parts to what we're trying to teach you. And we come at it from so many different angles, but everything surrounds the tape because, through the tape, through transactions, you understand behavior. And through behavior, you can start anticipating future freaking behavior. And if you can anticipate future behavior, there's a fucking pot of gold somewhere around there, somewhere, that you just kind of have to figure out. And that's what we teach. We teach every step of the way, and then obviously the psychology behind it, because it's huge. The psychology moves the behavior, it moves the herd, it's everything.
Right. Yeah. So that's what we're going to talk about right now, guys. We're one of Lucci's 3 domains that we identified as tape reading. That's one of the core sources of his edge. Without it, he wouldn't be the trader that he is right now. We can't explain options. We can't even really go too far in depth on tape in this kind of context, but we're going to do what we can in this situation. So let's talk a little bit about tape. I mean, Luch, there are probably people in here who are completely new to what we do. Can you give them like the 1-minute summary of tape before we get into that?
Okay. 1-minute summary of tape. And again, like let me just go ahead and just share a little bit of screen here. Let me just mess around here with this. Hopefully I can get this to work. Anybody? Did that work?
Can't see your screen yet. Hold on. I can also.
Oh, there we go. There we go. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to move this little window, I hope I can, to this little time and sales right here. So this is what we're talking about. The minute discussion is basically how the buyers and sellers interact with one another and who is winning. So is supply winning or is demand winning? And then on, how long of a time frame can we extrapolate that out for? So in the quickest, minute kind of example here for tape is just the interaction and relationship between buyers and sellers and trying to understand who is stronger at that moment in time and then extrapolating that out through more time just by looking at transactions. That's literally it. That's what we're doing.
Right. So it's one of those things that sounds incredibly simple, and it's it's far from that in practice. But
Indeed.
Hold on, I'm just getting the hang of this Zoom situation.
We recently moved over to Zoom from Citrix.
Yeah. What is going on? All right, here we go. All right, so then let's go into, the best way to illustrate this, I think, is to give a little bit of an example of how you have used it recently, right? I mean, coronavirus has obviously had an enormous impact on markets. One of the reasons that why we promote tape so much is because it is, unlike some indicators that just stop working over a certain period of time, right? Tape is just that's the plumbing of the markets. That's it. It's buyers and sellers. You can always rely on it. You can always go back to it. It might change, right? Things might start moving differently. New kind of, actors might start acting differently in the tape and showing their behavior differently. But you can always go back to it. So, can you talk a little bit about tape, how you've used it in the last couple of weeks, maybe
no doubt. I mean, I got several examples here, and again, we're going to stay kind of theoretical on this. And when we do the classes together, you guys will see how it kind of plays out all together. When you're looking at the options pricing, when you're looking at pre-market activity, how many of you guys obviously watched the jobs number today? You guys obviously watched the jobs number today. Jobless claims went through the freaking roof. I'm not sure what the actual numbers were, but obviously they were pretty horrible. And what happened as soon as the numbers got released was kind of what you'd expect, right? It's like, all right, there's 3 million people here filing for unemployment. So that's it. Let's crush the market. Let's go back to ground zero. Let's go back to March lows. And that is a sentiment that is prevailing everywhere. If you talk to anybody, how many of you guys right now believe that we're going to go back to March lows? And how many of you guys got caught thinking that we were going to go to March lows ASAP and you got stuck in some shorts? Well, that's what they do in the pre-market. That's what they do using some of the news as a catalyst and using some of the light liquidity in the pre-market because it's much easier to push an actual sentiment. And remember, we're talking about a whole herd mentality situation. So you crush the market off the open. What's the perception when the market opens? What is everybody thinking as soon as the market opens? What does everybody want to do as soon as the market opens, right, guys? Fucking sell the shit out of something, right? Short something, buy some damn puts, or friggin' sell out of your shit because we're going down, right? And then all of a sudden you start to look at your charts. You start to look at your tape. You start to look at all your names and you're like, ain't nobody fucking selling nothing here. What's happening here? And then finally you're like, oh, okay. This is a trap. This is a freaking straight up trap. And that's exactly what happened. And it's so easy for, the folks who basically push that sentiment to create prices, create opportunities for themselves. The larger players out here, it's so easy for them to push the sentiment and make us believe a certain way and make us believe that a stock is bullish or that the whole market is bearish. Trap us and get everybody pushed to one side so that nobody is looking at what's really happening, And tape is kind of a way to get you closer to that heartbeat, to get you closer to where that is. So today on my live stream, I don't know if any of you guys came to the live stream, I'm selling puts all day. Why was I selling puts? Because I was looking at this off the open and being like, dude, I'm looking at Amazon, I'm looking at Netflix, I'm looking at all the fucking stuff, I'm looking at Tesla. Tesla was a little bit different, but I'm looking at most of my names and there was no panic. There was nobody really selling anything. It was just light action. Nobody gave a shit. And then you think about it, you're like, oh, okay, all right. And then you see, everybody is sitting there trapped on the short side with the wrong sentiment. That's when you get those real moves. That's when the real money is made on the opposite side, because the real money is made using the fodder from the shorts that got stuck, okay? Or from the sellers that have the wrong perception, whether it's short term or long term. So that's one huge example how you're going to use perception, behavior, and market structure combined with tape reading to give you the read on what's really happening. I made a fat 20 grand trade off of going ES long. I missed 20 ES handles because of the Trump tweet on friggin' oil. But still, you know, it was a great trade based off what? Pure tape and perception of where everybody is positioned in the markets. This is what we try to teach you. Again, like Charlie was saying, like, these ain't technicals. There's nothing in this about that has anything to do with technical analysis. There's nothing in this that has anything to do besides pure behavior, which you can understand through the tape.
Yeah, Luch, I mean, have you seen, I don't know if it's on Twitter or whatever, or just other traders you know, like, who don't have tape during a time that has this much volatility and this much change in sort of like the fundamental market regime? Have you seen them struggle in a way that you don't, as a result of the fact that like you have tape and they don't?
Yes and no. Yes and no. I've seen it. I've seen it more so with executions now too. How many of you guys have been having really big issues with your executions ever since you know, this stuff kind of started off? I've seen it really aggressively with executions, man. So people who don't use tape, you know, level twos, especially for their options, and especially if they're doing complex spreads, they're getting the worst fills ever. You know, just because they don't understand what type of environment we're in and why options are priced the way they are, why stocks move the way they move. This is something that you can only understand through experience, obviously, and watching the tape. So I've seen it from that angle, definitely.
Right. And you, I mean, what about for you in the last couple of weeks? Like, how is your read? Do you feel like the tape has significantly changed? Like, what has your experience been in the last few weeks reading tape versus what it was for, you know, the year leading up to this?
To be quite honest, I've seen this before. I've seen this a good amount of times before. I've seen this type of market a good amount of times before. But it's just it's a lot faster. It's a lot faster, and the liquidity is just in general, it's a lot lighter. Because remember, we also teach you to put yourself in the position of those that have more power than you, more money than you, more time than you. And who are these people? These are market makers. These are the freaking Bill Ackmans of the world. These are all of these larger players who we watch on the Wise Guy alerts to see if anybody's buying $1 million of freaking SPY calls on a fucking weekly for a damn lotto. We see all of this stuff, and all of that gives us a picture, you know, of how to stick and move. Now, the question is, are you fast enough, and do you understand yourself well enough to allow those instincts, you know, to work for you? Most of the time in these types of markets, we move so quickly, you get caught in something, and then most of the days you end up struggling to you know, detach yourself from whatever you got caught in, which is how the market moves. That's exactly how the market moved this morning. You push everybody in on the worst freaking claims number ever, right? And the whole market tanks. That's it. It's a wrap. Everybody agrees. Yes, we're going to freaking lows, short everything. That's it. It's a freaking wrap. And you use that. You use that. They use it. They use it every day against us, man. And if you're not looking at the market like this, you know, it's that edge that you need. It's just a little bit of an edge here that you need to put yourself at a bit of an advantage here versus the normal, you know, ways of going about trading.
Right. Yeah. And one of the things, you know, when we talk about, we were creating this, we were talking about, you know, mastering your domain. What are various areas of expertise that people build up in this industry? And for professionals, one of the ones that they accrue, one of the ones that they develop is how to manipulate retail. Yeah. Right. I mean, that at the end of the day, that is their job. We're kind of throwing on the metaphor of it's like you're walking into a jungle, right? And there are predators who have been shaped over, you know, millennia to camouflage themselves and use whatever kind of poison, whatever. I mean, they are killing machines. Those are the participants that you're kind of dealing with. And there are people who come into these markets who just sort of assume that things are kind of work out for them. Right. If they just
and they'll give you a trade, Charlie. They'll give you a trade or two, man. They'll throw you a bone. And that's one of the best, that's one of the most amazing ways to get us accustomed, to get us habitualized to a certain thing happening. You know,
Right.
and we see that play out all the time. How many of you guys have seen the geniuses come out that say, yo, making money is completely easy. All I did was this, this, and this. And then something like this happens and the strategy disappears, and they
Right.
disappear. And it's really sad, but it's a fact of this particular game that we chose to play. So
Right.
many of you guys are going to think about it from a short-term basis. Like, okay, you know, as long as I can make money for a year or maybe 2 years, you're not thinking about 10 years. You ain't thinking about 20 years. I know I wasn't. I wasn't thinking about no 20 years when I started this shit. All I wanted was my $1 million and then I'm out. Of course, I was a young kid, right? So as soon as I got the million, nobody told me that you had to that you had to plan for what the fuck. Nobody told me that part of the
That
game,
it didn't
right?
end. That it didn't end.
It didn't end, right? It didn't end. I thought it was ending. I have my million, fine. That's it. I'm done. I'm 25 and I'm done. But life opens up obviously to a lot more. But anyways, most people don't have the foresight to look at it that way, and most people don't even think that a particular strategy is gonna fail on them. How many of you guys have gone on such a great winning streak, or such a great strategy? You found such a great strategy and it's working. You feel great. You feel like you're never going to fall off. How many of you guys felt like that before? I felt like that several times. And then every single time that strategy broke, it was like, oh shit, I got to go back to the drawing board and create a new strategy. But to my credit and to the credit of folks who have been around for a good amount of time, if you got the skills, if you understand how the structure of the market works, if you understand how tape works, buyers and sellers, you can always create something. You can always create a new strategy. Always.
Yeah, guys, and that's one of the reasons why we hammer tape reading so hard, is because you're going to have to use it differently over time. It's going to change over time how you apply it. But you have to learn tape, you have to learn a fundamental structure of the markets and how they work. And once you have that knowledge, you can build on it and reinvent yourself into perpetuity, right? Nobody can ever take that away from you. And that's why we hammer it so hard. It's not easy to learn. We're not going to sugarcoat it and tell you that, you spend a day in a class with Lucci and you're good to go. It takes time. It takes multiple classes to even get kind of the fundamentals down, and then to start applying it on a daily basis is takes even more time. But this is difficult. Trading is difficult. There's a reason that 95% of the traders who try it, fail. So if it was easy, then it wouldn't work. I can keep on asking Lucci questions, but you guys have a ton of good questions in here. So I can just start lining them up and get this going.
Yeah, no doubt. While you do that, let me also show them one more example while we're here. As well. Let me go ahead and move this thing down. This it takes me a little bit for the zoom too as well. What chart do you guys see right now? You guys should see a chart of a CL right now. You should be able to.
Yep, we see that.
Okay. So for the last several days, like I've been short crude, and I shorted from $23. So maybe this was like last week or something like that. And I was short around $23. I think it was sitting in it for a good amount of time before it actually tanked here. But let's go to the hourly here. Yeah, so I was short from like 23 and change. I caught this move down. I started to sell a little bit here, but my guy who was, kind of wanting me to put on the trade was like, no, we're going to $15 a barrel. Every single news article out there was talking about the fight between, Trump and Putin and Saudi Arabia. And I'm sitting there telling him, I'm like, yo, there's a fucking buyer at $20. There's a buyer at $20 every single day, no matter how much they would try to squeeze this thing. There's a buyer at $20, a buyer at $20. And I'm telling him. And this was one of those fundamental trades, Charlie, that I decided to throw out there. I'm just trying to help my boy out. He was like, yo, let's put on this trade. And I'm sitting there telling him, like, yo, every single time we get to 20, somebody's buying this thing. And then all of a sudden, last night, crazy squeeze. And then we get news randomly that Trump is trying to bring, Russia back to the table. if you guys think these news bits are random, they're fucking not. They're not. They are not. You know what I mean? And it's somebody always knows. Somebody always fucking knows. It's just the way this whole game works. And when you see shit like this, I saw this, by the way, on ES at I think 2400. Actually, no, one of my guys found this. He was trading futures overnight. Spencer, our boy Spencer here, found this overnight. He was sitting there watching ES, and there was just this phantom bid at 2400. And then all of a sudden, we went on a freaking, literally a freaking, 400 rally ES move or whatever the hell it was. And it was, it was one of the greatest freaking bounces that we've seen in our time. And I remember talking to him the day after, and he saw this, and I remember being so mad at him, like, yo, why the fuck didn't you tell me? You know what I mean? Why the fuck wasn't I privy to this, to this move here? But this is what you start to see. Once you start paying attention, once you start spending time watching this tape, watching how it moves, it's not just support and resistance out here. I know a lot of you TA guys are just going to be like, okay, that's simple support and resistance. I'm talking about a feel. I'm talking about working up your instinct and then being able to trust your instinct. We're trying to get you to that point. That's what the course is all about. Because we could sit here and tell you what, you could sit here and try to learn TA as much as you want, this, whatever strategy, as much as you fucking want. But if it's not in here, if it's not in here somewhere, and first it's got to come from the knowledge, and then it's got to come with the other parts of the webinars that we're going to throw out at you as well. But if you don't build that feel, that instinct, that's the biggest part, man. Because the instinct is going to help you get the fuck out of losing trades, understand when you're wrong. There's so much that your instinct is going to do for you, but you got to build it up first. You got to know what the fuck you're looking at first.
Right. Yeah, and that takes time, and that takes reps. We were talking to somebody in the steam room earlier, a guy who's a college guy, and he's in the psychology channel, and he was just getting pissed at himself about, feeling like he was trading tight and, not performing into the level that he felt like he could. And some of the guys in the room were being like, dude, you just got to get the reps in. Like you just gotta put more time in. You're gonna learn all of this. And you're going to learn to not kind of hold so tight and white knuckle it as much as you are. And that's what this is about. It's you got to put the reps in, but you got to be putting the reps in a way that is smart. Not every rep, not every day in front of the markets is created equal. You can get so much more out of the time that you put in if you do it in the right way, if you approach things, consciously, and if you're looking at the right information. So, and that's what tape is all about. That's the reason why we teach it and we focus on it so much. We got a couple questions that are really good here. What would be considered noise through the tape?
Yeah, no doubt. That's a very, and remember, tape is it's not zeros and ones, man. It ain't binary. It's not binary. It's not like it's about, remember, because, look at this Tesla tape right now, for example, right? Let's move this up here. Like, look at this. It's freaking crazy right now. And there's literally 1 million people sitting at their computers. There's also a computerized market maker that is sitting there providing a market after hours for people to trade this fucking thing. I don't know why these ones are not showing up. Let's go to this one. This one's working. So all these things are happening at the same time. And we exist in a marketplace that can process all these transactions at the blink of an eye, and we have to sit here and assess a lot of this information, right? So it's a rolling kind of period in time that you're looking, you're reading, you're assessing, you're analyzing, you're making a thesis, and then you're breaking that thesis or proving that thesis, and then on and on and on and on and on and on you go. That's it. That's literally it. It is just it's just a process. Now, how much of it are you looking at that could be fake? Or that could be something that, is not real, for example. I've seen many times where, a large player will be on both sides of the bid and the offer to compress prices so that he or she can pick up whatever they want to in the middle. And then once they're done with whatever the hell they were doing, maybe they were adding a position, maybe they were going long, maybe they were going short, that's when these things actually do move. I've seen a lot of things that you would look at and be like, whoa, you might look at it one way, but in reality, there's a bigger picture that is going on. So again, that's more reps. It's just more reps. It's more looking at tape. It's more looking at what's the reaction to what you believe is fake. You know what I mean? What's the reaction? Was it really fake? What's really going on here? And there's so many different ways, a player could kind of push a certain sentiment out there through actual transactions and tape, and then pull it and do the complete fucking opposite things. There's so many different ways that can happen, but there's still only one truth, which is why, what is the purpose? What is the real goal? Where's the real money being made? There's still only one truth, and that truth will be unveiled to you whenever it's fucking ready. Now, are you willing to, open yourself up to that truth? Or are you going to fight the fucking thing? Most of y'all, especially in that moment of time where the most money is made, guess what we're doing? We're fucking fighting it. We're being emotional. We don't want to believe it because they've already set the traps, and they're so good at setting those traps, baby. They're so good at setting those traps, man.
Yeah.
But don't think that tape, most of the prevailing, what people say about tape in level 2 right now, you know what they go quickly to? They'll be like, oh, you can't trust anything that's on there. But they don't know what to watch. They don't know how to watch it. They look at one thing and be like, oh, that's a fake order. That's somebody saying they want 10,000 shares when they really don't. And it's not real. They don't understand why those things happen. There's no fighting what happens on the tape. There's some goal. There's some reason why somebody is doing X, Y, and Z, and that reason will be unveiled to you whenever it's ready to be unveiled to you. Right. Are you going to listen?
Well said. Well said. How can tape reading be used for non-day trades?
Okay, yeah, and this is probably one of the biggest questions we get, and this is probably one of the biggest kind of people get down on themselves too, So they start reading tape. They say, yo, this is too tick by tick, And again, they miss the point. You miss the point. You make it too tick by. You're looking at every single tick. You're trying to make sense out of every single transaction. That's not what it's about. It's not what it's about. And again, we're trying to give you these tools so that you realize there's a much bigger picture behind here. So if we look at oil, for example, so obviously there was a freaking floor in that oil at $20 a freaking barrel, despite the fact that there's possible war happening between Saudi Arabia and Russia. The supply is crazy. People are talking about $10 freaking oil. All this shit is happening. But what if that's the floor that we see for the next 2 months? What if that floor that my boy Spencer hit me with on the ES at 2,200 or whatever the hell it was? What if that was the floor for the next 3 months? What if that's the reason why everybody is so fucking bearish right now, but this market won't come all the way back down to lows? Start asking yourself these questions. Start creating theories. Start creating these theses. Theses?
That sounds right. Theses.
Start creating these theses and then prove them in the tape. Tape is so valuable to freaking swing traders. Tape is so valuable to any options traders who are writers that write for a good amount of time. Oh my God, man. You can extrapolate something that you're seeing right now to give you a trade idea for months, man. For months, for weeks, for whatever, man. Even if it's a long-term freaking thing, there's so much you can use it for, So people get very pigeonholed into the tick by tick, and it's very easy to, because shit, you're looking at your fucking P&L all day. You're trying to figure out why you're down in freaking whatever the hell it is you're down in, and you get bogged up in what does this transaction mean? What does that transaction mean? We teach you the bigger picture. We teach you how to put it all together and be like, and create a thesis for a larger trade, a swing trade, whatever you want to do out here.
Right. Yeah. All right. We'll keep on taking questions. I'm just going to do a quick plug for the master course. This is what, this whole series that we're doing is leading up to the launch of the next master course. Starts on April 27th. That's the next live course. We've got a lot of people who have hit us up and said, hey, are you guys going to start this soon? Because people want to, people are quarantined and they have more time? Can they, can they start, can we start doing this live now? You guys can start the course whenever you want. We have people who are signing up for the master course at all times throughout the year, not just when a live course is about to start. You get access to all of the recorded content. And then once the live course starts, you're already completely up to speed. You can dive in and ask Lucci, much more specific questions. You get to teach, he gets to teach things in a fresher way than what you've already learned, but you've got that foundation there. So you guys, if you're sitting around and you got time on your hands, and you're in a place where you can actually, make a commitment to do this, don't wait until April 27th. Get in there now, and then when April 27th rolls around, you'll be good to go. You can also do, you can go to this site, you guys can see it right here, 3ltplaybook.com/SL-master-course. I'll put it in the chat for you guys. It tells you everything that you get with the course. We got Lucci obviously teaching the majority of these classes to you, everything that he does. And then we also have, so this is going through everything that we teach. And then we've also got Ron Friedman, who you guys have learned a lot from. He's going to be on our next webinar with us on Thursday. He's teaching his methodology and some of the classes around tape reading, which is huge. To have him on as another educator. Wall Street Jesus teaches you guys what he does in Flow and the Wise Guys Revealed component of the course. And then we have Chris Cady, who's not featured on this page, but he's an expert in trading psychology. He and I do kind of a duo, 2 classes all on trading psychology, in addition to the trading psychology you get from Lucci. So we can do payment plans if you guys want. All you have to do is just hit sign up and you check the box for a 4-month payment plan, if that's what you want. It breaks it up across 4 months. We are not doing a bunch of discounts, a bunch of crazy discounts and stuff this time around. So it's $3,000. The demand for this course has gone through the roof over the last couple of years, and the amount that we've put into it, the number of individuals involved, the size of operation, the costs have gone up. What you get is far beyond what has ever been before. But that's all to say, we can't really discount this any further, except for 2 specific circumstances. One is if you are in the Steam Room. If you're a Steam Room member, you want to sign up, email me, charlie@lucci.com, or email Spencer. We got a discount code for you. We'll give you that. And then the second circumstance is if you have been affected by coronavirus, this is something that has really impacted your life. We want to be there to support you in whatever capacity we can. We can't give this away for free, and this is really an honor system thing. We trust that anybody who would avail themselves of this would be honorable. It's your karma, guys. If you decide to take advantage of this, then that's on you. But if you've had some sort of circumstances where coronavirus has deeply affected you, but you really do want to sign up for the course, send me an email to charlie@lucci.com, and we have some special spots set aside for you that we can help you out. So, all right, enough on that. Let's get a couple more questions. Luch, let me pull up my Q&A thing, wherever that is.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to find some of this stuff.
Yeah, we're like bouncing around in here like amateurs. All right, here we go. All right, so you guys are getting some real specific questions about tape, which, we can only answer so many of these outside the context of the course. Sean, so what are the main things that you look for to determine strong versus weak tape? Bid side stacking against ask, large order around key levels and time and sales?
Yeah, I mean, you got it more or less. I mean, there's obviously that and so much more. But again, when you learn to look at the market as supply and demand, just buyers and sellers, you start to act like you're part of the demand, right? Or you're part of the supply. And what kind of tape do you want to see if you're short? What kind of tape do you want to see if you're long? And you start to understand this. You start to understand fake outs. You start to understand shakeouts. You start to understand when something is real versus something needs a little bit more time. You start to understand, because you're looking at options pricing, timing of these freaking moves. If you can get options for cheaper, you start to understand if it's smarter to short a put versus go long a call, because you're going to see X, Y, and Z tape, because that's what you're seeing right now. Like these are all the things that you're going to learn. So you know what else too that people love doing? And this is the guy that I'm teaching right now, the Forex trader, right? He wants to compartmentalize everything. He wants to make a step 1, step 2, step 3 shit out of everything. Everybody wants to do that shit, man. Everybody wants, everybody, I think for years wanted me and Charlie to put together a strategy where it's like, hey, do this, step 2, step 3. And
we still get that request.
We never could do that. I could never do that shit. I could be like, okay, I can give it to you. But I know damn well it ain't gonna work. It's not gonna work. It sounds good. It sounds great, but it's not. It's not gonna click. It's not gonna click for these people. Why? Because there's a psychological aspect to it. There's a behavioral aspect to it. There's a tape reading aspect to it. There's an aspect to it where you're watching and trying to understand the market before you fucking do something. And that's, sadly to say, a revolutionary fucking concept when it comes to trading education, apparently. So, we're trying to teach you how to hone your skills watching that tape. You're not just looking for bids stepping up, even though that's what you want to see, right? So if you're in a long trade, you want to see buyers saying, you know what? Fuck this price. Fuck this limit order sitting here on the bid. I'm not going to get this shit filled, right? What are you going to do? You're going to move it up. 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 Yeah, you want to see people chasing something. You want to see people going market and lifting offers and just saying, fuck it, I don't care what price I pay for. Let me get this now. Let me get this now. I need this now. Of course, these types of behaviors are going to result in what? Some kind of a move for you, some kind of a game for you. And that game has some dollars attached to it. That's how we teach you. You know what I mean? So you're on the right track, but be prepared for 100 more of those instances, and be prepared for a world where you're not going to be able to write this shit down and be like, if I see X and then do Y or whatever. We're teaching you how to work from right here, man. How to listen to this and how to hone that skill. Because once that skill is done, once you take care of the psychological aspect of it, that's it. That's it. You got the game by the ass. You got the game by the ass right there.
That's what we all want, right? To have the game by the ass. That's what we're all doing here. All right, we'll do one last question, and then we'll have to be off until next week. Next week's webinar is on Thursday with Ron Friedman. So is this tape reading similar to reading options flow, only at a more refined level?
Yeah, you could consider it. And again, like any time somebody puts something in a category or like in a box and shit, I'm like, well, like, what are you gonna say? Like, what does me saying yes to you do anything? How does that do anything for you? Answer me that question. Like, whether I say yes or no to this question, how does this help you whatsoever, bro? You know what I mean? It does. It's not going to help you, man. It's not going to help you. But part of tape reading is looking at options flow. Options flow is only one part of the picture. Options flow, when somebody goes in and buys something aggressively, what are they doing? How they're getting the order executed is part of tape reading. Because if you have somebody that's dropping $1 million on the offer for a call or a put, and he doesn't give a flying fuck what price he pays for it, and he pays up for it, let's say he pays up 50 cents or $1, what does that look like to you? What is that? That's aggressive buyer who doesn't care about what price he's paying for it. Now the market maker has to look at that order and be like, who the fuck is this guy? Right? Now he just sold a bunch of calls to this guy, and now he's got to come into the stock and hedge. How does he go and do that? Okay, well, if I got to come into the stock and hedge, I got to buy stock now. So now I got the market maker in here buying stock for that particular name that we're sitting there watching. Now all of a sudden, everybody else is watching this thing move up. And what are they going to do? Everybody's chasing and chasing and chasing and chasing. This is all part of tape. This is all part of behavior. This is the game. This is the game. There's no way we can massage this foot. There's no way we can we can package this up into a nice blue colors and pink colors for you. You know, we can't do any of that shit. This is just what it is. This is the game. You know, there's no way we can bullshit this or create another world for you where it exists that, you know, might be more palatable for you to understand. This is the raw truth of it all. This is just how the market works.
That's what we're here to teach you. We're not here to blow smoke up your ass. So, yeah, there's been a lot of people who've been in the course. Danny Crane's in here right now. He's a guy who's been in the room for a long time and is attesting to the impact that the course had on him. So if you guys are interested, go to 3ltplaybook.com. Go through that experience. You'll learn a lot about, you know, kind of what we're all about, Lucci's perspective on things. And then you can sign up for the course at the end if you want to. If not, you know, keep doing what you're doing. If it's working for you, then keep doing it. I think that's it. But if you guys have questions, feel free to hit up Spencer at contact@sanlucci.com. You know, he can answer some of your questions about things that didn't get addressed in here. And we will see you next Thursday for the second installment in this series with Ron Friedman, with Ranchero. That's going to be a good one. So we'll see you guys there. We hope everybody stays safe and healthy through all this, guys. That's it. Luch, any parting words?
Take care, guys. Take care of your families. Take care. Stay the fuck indoors, man. Stay inside, you know, and trade. Because what the fuck else are you going to do? Spend time with the kids, man. Please spend time with your damn kids. Don't let them sit there on that damn TikTok. Listen, don't let them sit there on that TikTok, man. Okay? Don't fucking do it. Don't do it. All right, y'all.
All right, guys. Have a good weekend. We'll see you soon.